So I have put the session to recording, and so the first thing we will do, Atma Namaste. The first thing we will do is we will use the great invocation to start the session. Okay. So let's do the great invocation for this. Let's raise our hand in the blessing position. You all know about great invocation. So because ये session जो है, this is open to public. Great invocation is a prayer जो एक वर्ल्ड प्रेयर है एंड इसके जरिए हम थ्री डिवाइन एस्पेक्ट्स या क्वालिटीज को इवोक करते हैं, लाइट, लव एंड पावर. सो बिकॉज दिस इज योर फर्स्ट सेशन, इफ इट इज पॉसिबल जस्ट फॉलो एंड मे बी इन द कमिंग डेज हम ग्रेड इन्वोकेशन पे भी एक छोटा सा डिस्कशन रखेंगे. सो यू कैन रेज योर हैंड लाइक दिस, close your eyes, we will chant the mantra Om, because Om is a universal sound, for 3 times. Are you ready? Inhale. Om. 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 The great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of every person, every being. Let light descend on earth. Om. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of every person, every being. Let love descend on earth. May the great messenger of God returns to earth. Om. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the will of every person, every being, the purpose which the holy masters know and serve. Let goodwill and the will to do good descend on earth. Om. From the center which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light, love, and power restore the divine plan on earth. So be it, so be it, so be it. Let's chant Om 3 times again. Om. 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 Blessings and blessings be to all. Blessings and blessings be to all. Very slowly, gently open your eyes with a big, big smile. How is everybody? Are you able to follow? Were you able to follow the entire great creation? I think most of you are familiar, right, with the technique? Yes. Now, coming back to the subject. So let me give you a brief introduction to what this series is going to be. And because it will be like 30 to 40 minutes a day, it's a short series, but we'll try to cover topics from different aspects of spiritual teachings connected to different spiritual schools. The idea of इस सीरीज का या रेजिंग कॉन्शियसनेस जो प्रोग्राम है, इसका एक ऑब्जेक्टिव ये है कि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों तक इजी एंड सिंप्लीफाइड फॉर्मेट में स्पिरिचुअल एजुकेशन या स्पिरिचुअल विजडम जो है, जो ग्रेट स्पिरिचुअल टीचर्स द्वारा दी गई है, वो पहुंचे. There's a lot of material available on the internet which talks about soul, which talks about spirituality, which talks about the spiritual path and so on. But what I found, जब मैं अपने spiritual journey पे था या हूँ, अभी भी हूँ, इस पूरे प्रोसेस में काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें जो इंटरनेट पे अवेलेबल है, उसमें से काफ़ी कुछ या तो इट इज़ टू सिंपलिस्टिक या तो इट इज़ टू कॉम्प्लिकेटेड. there's no बीच का कुछ ऐसा नॉलेज नहीं है जो इजीली सबके लिए अवेलेबल हो और जो सबको स्पिरिचुअली अपग्रेड भी करे. Upgrade, when I say upgrade, it does not mean that you are reading and learning something which is very redundant or very repetitive. It's like the same thing over and over again. So one of the purposes of this session is to bring insights from the angle of different spiritual teachers and this different spiritual traditions on one platform, जिससे कि हर कैटेगरी के या हर ग्रेड के स्पिरिचुअली स्पीकिंग जो सोल्स है, व्हेन वी से ग्रेड, इट मींस कुछ लोग जो है दे कैन नॉट अंडरस्टैंड वेरी एब्स्ट्रैक्ट स्पिरिचुअल कॉन्सेप्ट्स. कुछ लोग जो हैं उनके लिए जो चीज़ें इंटरनेट पे अवेलेबल है कई बार बहुत ज़्यादा सिंपलिस्टिक होती हैं. सो वी विल ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट वे जिससे कि हर इंसान, चाहे वो स्पिरिचुअल पाथ पे एक नया इंसान हो या प्रोग्रेशन में हो, उसके लिए कुछ ना कुछ इस सेशन के ज़रिए या इस सीरीज़ के ज़रिए लोगों तक यानी पब्लिक तक पहुंच सके. एंड थ्रू द इनसाइट्स we all can benefit and grow together. So that is one of the purposes of this session. Now, another purpose of this session, as I mentioned in the flyer, was to make the teachings of great spiritual teachers available to public in an easy and simplified format, जो कि I have hardly find on internet. बहुत कम जो speakers हैं, स्पेशली जो लोग एक पर्टिकुलर स्पिरिचुअल ट्रेडिशन से या स्पिरिचुअल स्कूल से जुड़े भी हैं, आई हैव फाउंड इट डिफिकल्ट to even understand, even as a common man या even as a spiritual practitioner, उनकी लैंग्वेज को समझने के लिए. क्योंकि स्पिरिचुअलिटी में कुछ चीज़ें ऐसी होती है जिन्हें कॉमन डे टू डे एक्सपीरियंसेस से रिलेट करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. अगर आप ये जो चीज़ें हैं, एब्स्ट्रैक्ट चीज़ें हैं, जैसे ऑरा है, चक्रा है, सोल्स है, द कॉन्सेप्ट अबाउट इनर वर्ल्ड्स, इनर स्पिरिचुअल टीचिंग्स, इन चीज़ों को डे टू डे लाइफ के एक्सपीरियंसेस से को रिलेट करना और उन्हें लोगों तक पहुंचाना, I think I have only found such simplicity in only maybe a handful teachings या schools, जैसे कि School of Pranic Healing, even School of like Brahma Kumaris या School of Art of Living. So some schools are there जो चीज़ों के deeper significance या spiritual rites and rituals और चीज़ों के deeper significance को easily convey कर पाते हैं, but still ऐसी बहुत सारी एंशियंट विजडम हैं या टीचिंग्स है जो अभी भी हिडन है, जो बहुत ज़्यादा नॉलेजेबल है, जो लाइफ में ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन ला सकती है हमारे, एंड स्पेशली विच कैन हेल्प रेज आवर कॉन्शियसनेस. बिकॉज ये सेशन का या इस सीरीज का थीम इज रेजिंग कॉन्शियसनेस. सो माई क्वेश्चन इज, or you should ask the question, what does it mean to raise one's consciousness, and most importantly, what is the meaning of consciousness? So based on what I've understood from the School of Pranic Healing, like one of my first spiritual schools, is consciousness is synonymous to soul. I repeat, consciousness is synonymous to soul. So raising consciousness can mean that how can we have better contact or connection with our soul? And what is the psychology of the soul? What is the purpose of life? What is the purpose of evolution? Evolution exactly है क्या? What is karma? So ऐसे कई सारे questions है जिनके simplified answers with day to day relatable examples के साथ हम इस series के जरिए लोगों तक share करेंगे. Because in my 15 years of journey in pranic healing, like some of you for whom I may be new, I started my spiritual journey many years ago in 2008. And मेरे life में बहुत सारे questions थे, related to life, related to, as I said, what is the purpose of life? What is the meaning of life? Who am I? Why am I here? And why is there so much suffering? So ऐसे कई सारे questions जो थे, उसके जवाब मुझे सही direction में या सही जगह से नहीं मिल रहे थे. Yeah, I was not able to find the right source for it. But when pranic healing came to me, pranic healing was, as I mentioned, was and is and will be always my first spiritual school. And the founder of this school, Master Choa Kok Sui, will always be my first teacher, spiritual teacher. So in pranic healing, Master Choa Kok Sui not only introduce into a very structured and simplified format of spiritual discipline into healing. First, what I learned was healing. Then, obviously, through our Hatha Yoga, the school where we learn about the science of balancing, the different forms of yogas. So, इसके अलावा जो parallel studies या additional information master ने provide किया, and he connected us to different spiritual teachings and spiritual schools. That was phenomenal because it was like his many years of hard work, जो भी उन्होंने spiritual teachings collect की, he brought in the form of like ऐसे सोचा जाए कि अगर एक लाइब्रेरी में आप घुसे and वहाँ पे spirituality के नाम पे कई हजारों literature available है, and then you're so confused where to start. One of the things which I really liked about Master Choa was he filtered out, as he said, many what do you call um, misunderstandings या फिर जो भी confusions हैं या superstitions है, उन सबको filter out करके जो cream of the crop है, which comes from the teachings of many great avatars and spiritual teachers, उस चीज को मास्टर ने present किया है in the form of additional reading material. And when I started my journey, मैंने जब इन सब चीज़ों के थ्रू गो थ्रू किया या स्टडी किया, डीप स्टडी किया, तो बहुत सारे सवालों के जवाब जो है बहुत आसानी से मिले, बहुत सारी चीज़ें समझ में आई, एंड नॉट ओनली समझ में आई, अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स मेड सेंस टू मी. बिकॉज जब आप किसी भी पर्सन को इंटरनेट पे आज बोलते हुए सुनते हैं, हु टॉक्स अबाउट स्पिरिचुअलिटी, नॉट एवरी पर्सनस टॉक मेक सेंस. कई सारी चीज़ें से लगती है व्हाट दिस पर्सन इज स्पीकिंग, क्या बोल रहा है, इट डज नॉट correlate to your mind, even though don't know much about it, but still somewhere within you are not able to relate to it. Have you not experienced this? So in my many years of journey, I was fortunate enough to find the right mentors, find the right guides जिन्होंने help किया, including obviously the main teacher Master Choa. Through his videos and through whatever I've learned through his courses, I was able to understand deep inner spiritual teachings and was able to uh, experience transformation in my life जब मैंने वो चीज़ों को लाइफ में अप्लाई किया. So इस सीरीज में I will share part of what I have learned and practically applied in my own life. Plus, I will try to bring the same wisdom which I have learned from these great spiritual teachings and made it available in the easy to understand format for other people. Just like I was introduced by my mentors. Obviously, I cannot duplicate the same thing, but I will try my best. Now, coming back to the subject of raising consciousness. So, because आज का session जो है introductory session है, so please bear with me. And I'm just trying to connect dots before we head on this long journey, क्योंकि ये journey जो है इसमें काफ़ी सारे subjects, काफ़ी सारे topics पे बातें होगी. We'll talk about angels, we'll talk about different healing modalities. We will talk about the spiritual hierarchy. We'll talk about how can you develop yourself as a person spiritually by applying very simple techniques of meditation, purification, जो अलग-अलग spiritual tradition से आती है, based on what Master Choa recommended, because some of the teachings जो pranic healing school में हैं, they are copyrighted, so obviously I cannot share, but things which are publicly available, जो दूसरे spiritual tradition से भी आती है, वो मैं जरूर इस series में share करूँगा. And regarding pranic healing school, those of you who are not pranic healers, I would definitely recommend you to take pranic healing classes. So because I had the background of pranic healing, chakras, the knowledge of chakras, the knowledge of aura, and the deeper understanding of chakra ka physiological, psychological function. When I embarked on my journey of spiritual studies, it was easy for me to correlate. It was easy for me to understand abstract concepts. जो अगर as a layman मैं शुरू करूँ directly, if I take a book from theosophy or if I take a book from any other spiritual school, my head would swing or सर के ऊपर से ही वो हो जाएगी, because a lot of things need clarification. So Master Choa Kok Sui and his teachings really made the bridge, the first bridge, his teachings towards spirituality or higher form of spiritual teachings. So I'm really, really grateful to my guru and to all my mentors and guides for that. So raising consciousness का जो objective है, one of the objectives, as I mentioned, is to introduce to public the different terminologies about life, about spirituality and spiritual teachings, about the soul, about the concepts of इनविजिबल रियलिटी जो हमारे चारों ओर है, जो हमें प्रभावित करती है, अफेक्ट करती है डे टू डे लाइफ में, बट हम उससे अनजाने हैं, वी आर अनअवेयर. हम हर वो चीज़ जो हमें फिजिकली दिखती है, हम उसे ही किसी भी चीज़ का कारण समझते हैं. जैसे लेट्स से कि स्टमक में प्रॉब्लम हुआ, एंड देन यू वेंट टू द डॉक्टर, सो समटाइम्स द डॉक्टर वुड से कि इन्फेक्शन हुआ है, और इन्फेक्शन में भी आपके खान पान में गड़बड़ से हो सकता है, या पोल्यूशन, या improper hygiene. But the deeper unseen cause can be as simple as the person was emotionally disturbed, and उस emotional disturbance के वजह से उसकी immunity affect हुई, and because the immunity was affected, the person falls sick. So इसी तरह से लाइफ में, चाहे वो रिलेशनशिप हो, चाहे वो हेल्थ हो, चाहे वो फाइनेंसेस हो, या कोई भी एरिया हो, हर एरिया में there is obviously an outer cause of why we have problem, but there is a deeper inner cause या invisible cause. अगर वो हम जान ले, if somebody guides us कि inner cause को कैसे पहचाने या क्या हो सकते हैं, then I guess we will be able to solve our life's problems much more easily. Do you think it makes sense? Just type MS if you think it makes sense. Now, so regarding the raising of consciousness, इस series के through, one of my objectives will be कि session by session we introduce to the masses, to public, what it means to be a soul. आत्मा होना क्या होता है, what is the anatomy of the soul, then how can you connect, have a better connection with your own inner divinity. हम अपनी inner divinity से कैसे connect हो सकते हैं. Now, one more objective of this program, which is based on the teachings given in the book called Externalization of Hierarchy. It's written by one of the spiritual teachers. There are many spiritual teachers जो invisible worlds में या spiritual worlds में, they are guiding mankind, right? So it says कि आने वाले time में, near future में, as the masses prepare themselves, great spiritual teachers and angelic beings will come in greater contact with mankind. I repeat, as human consciousness, of the masses, या बोलना चाहिए एक large population of the masses का एक degree तक physically, emotionally, mentally अगर development पहुंचता है या consciousness raise होती है, then in very near future we will be able to interact with the subtler worlds. We will be able to interact with or become aware of the subtle life going around us. Like we will be able to interact with angels. We'll be able to interact with, if we are sensitive, that sensitive, with the departed ones, जो हमारे family members and friends जो physical world छोड़ के inner world में जाते हैं, and we think that they are gone, but actually they are there. हम उनसे interact कर पाएंगे. It is as normal as if they're physically alive, and then we will be able to contact great spiritual beings or entities who are far more genius and intelligent than some of the people who are present on earth, and they are constantly willing to guide humanity, especially people who are sensitive and ready. So this series is a humble effort through which we will bring teachings and techniques from different spiritual traditions जो हमें वो initial raise of consciousness में help करे, जिससे कि हम इतना काबिल हो जाए कि हम higher worlds में tap कर सके, and we can access higher knowledge, we can access deep inner spiritual teachings in order to resolve our life's problems, हमारे life के challenges या हमारे life के problems को हम खुद overcome कर पाए. Now, the problem in this is, and that is one of the reasons I thought that social media is one of the best platforms nowadays to reach the masses. There are small scattered groups जहाँ पे pranic healing के through या other spiritual groups के जरिए हम ऐसे sessions करते रहते हैं. But अगर if there is a way we can reach a large amount of people, that is more important. Now, why is that? So so based on what I've just shared about raising of consciousness, the key theme of the higher beings or spiritual beings reaching out to us to help us is when a large population of people, उनका जो interest है spirituality के तरफ मुड़े. मतलब, let's say if there is a 7 billion population on earth, out of 7 billion, at least 2 billion, 1 or 2 billion people start to maybe meditate every day or reflect, make corrections in whatever mistakes they do, read some kind of spiritual literature जो उन्हें aware करवाए या educate करे about who they really are, and उस direction में वो कुछ ना कुछ काम करे. अगर इतना भी इस तरह के सेशन से हम कर पाए and we reach out to hundreds of thousands of people, then we are actually doing the work of the great beings, the great ones. I'm not saying this is the only session. मेरे पहले और मेरे बाद में ऐसे कई और speakers आएंगे जो ये काम करेंगे. I am just doing my humble part in it. So I don't know how many people I will be able to reach, but maybe with the help of all the audience who will attend this sessions, live या recording, if you think कि this session is beneficial या इसके जरिए आपके लाइफ में कुछ 2% 5% भी चेंज आया, please feel free to forward it or share to other people. Now, why? The reason is, as I said, that great spiritual transformation आने के लिए कुछ गिने चुने लोग अगर बहुत ग्रेट स्पिरिचुअल हाइट भी पहुंच गए, उससे जो इम्पैक्ट होगा उससे कई गुना ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट आएगा कि हजारों या लाखों लोग 5% या 10% स्पिरिचुअली इवॉल्व हो पाए. सो ये सारे सेशंस में से कोई भी एक सेशन की इंफॉर्मेशन अगर एक व्यक्ति के अंदर में स्पिरिचुअल सीड स्टिमुलेट करता है या उसमें वो विश्वास जगाता है या क्यूरियोसिटी जगाता है कि वो ये जानने की कोशिश करे कि वो कौन है, who they really are, and then they start to take interest in it. They start to do, as I said, little meditation or mantra chanting or any kind of affirmation, anything which sparks spirituality in that person, the goal is achieved. Do you think it's a good motivation? Yeah, good project? Yes. So that's the reason in this series, in this session, I want to take chapter by chapter or subject by subject teachings from all the books I have read till date in the last 15 years. And obviously, I will keep on educating myself so that I can educate or share more information with people, with the masses. Now, consciousness is the most important link between us and our inner divinity. Maybe just for a very short period of time, let's talk about consciousness because it's already 4:30. So consciousness जो है हमारे और हमारे इनर डिविनिटी के बीच की सबसे महत्वपूर्ण कड़ी या लिंक है। विदाउट कॉन्शियसनेस वी आर हेल्पलेस इन अ सेंस कि हम ये चीज समझ ही नहीं पाएंगे या जान ही नहीं पाएंगे कि हम यहाँ क्यों आए हैं, क्यों भेजे गए हैं, वाई वी आर हियर, व्हाट वी आर सपोज टू डू। ये जो क्वेश्चंस हमारे अंदर में आते हैं, या ये जो एक अंदर में भाव आता है कि क्या मैं कोई चीज सही कर रहा हूँ या गलत कर रहा हूँ, इसका कनेक्शन भी हमारी कॉन्शियसनेस से है। नाउ एज आई मेंशन टू यू दैट कॉन्शियसनेस हैज समथिंग टू डू विद द टर्म सोल, सोल और आत्मा, राइट? सो it is a synonymous to atma but it is not exactly the same thing. So जैसे जैसे हम आगे के सेशंस में जाएंगे and maybe we'll start with the anatomy of the soul, आत्मा के बारे में थोड़ी बातें करेंगे, short topics. We will try to understand that what is the connection of consciousness with the soul. That is one. How can you increase or raise your consciousness in our day-to-day life so that you become efficient in this inner communication? One of the goals of spiritual practices, yes, meditations जो होते हैं, is to learn to tap or become a more conscious communicator. जैसे कि आपके पास में सेल फोन है, राइट? तो सेल फोन से यू आर एबल टू कम्युनिकेट टू पीपल, बट अगर आपको सेल फोन इस्तेमाल करना ही नहीं आता है, इवन दो इट्स अ वेरी गुड सेल फोन, इससे आप वीडियो कॉल भी कर सकते हैं, बट यू डोंट नो हाउ टू अनलॉक इट, यू डू नॉट नो हाउ टू कॉल अ पर्सन और फाइंड द पर्सन's नंबर, देन आप बहुत सारी अपॉर्चुनिटीज से शायद बचे रह सकते हैं या दूर रह सकते हैं। सो वन ऑफ द गोल ऑफ स्पिरिचुअल प्रैक्टिस और ऑफ स्पिरिचुअल पाथ इज टू मेक अस अ बेटर कम्युनिकेटर। ऑब्वियसली फिजिकल वर्ल्ड में अगर आप बहुत अच्छे कम्युनिकेटर हैं तो अपने कम्युनिकेशन के स्किल या पावर से ही आप लोगों का दिल जीत सकते हैं। एंड you have seen there are so many wonderful speakers like you have Sandeep Maheshwari, then you have in India when we talk about, and then we have Tony Robbins in the US. So they have mastered the art of communication with the masses. But even more important communication is our inner communication. Inner communication यानी बाहरी communication से मे बी आप एक अच्छे स्पीकर से जाके मिलेंगे, वो आपको कुछ टिप्स देगा जिससे आपकी टेम्परेरी कुछ प्रॉब्लम्स लाइफ की सॉल्व हो सकती है, राइट? बट देन वी नो दैट लाइफ में चैलेंजेस या प्रॉब्लम्स जो है देयर अ कंटिन्यूअस प्रोसेस। इट्स लाइक ऐसा कोई दिन नहीं रहेगा कि हाँ चलो आज कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। some or the other challenge, some or the other problem will always be there. And not every time you will have a mentor or guide to guide you. Then what will you do? So in that case, you have something which is permanent and which is within you, जिस पे आप rely कर सकते हैं. That is your inner divinity we call as the soul. So one of the objectives of raising consciousness is to develop better communication inside us with that soul. And your soul is a very, very wise entity or being, in a sense that ऐसा spiritual traditions में लिखा गया है, right? That uh, the soul exists through eternity. It means your soul is immortal, your and mine, everyone's soul is immortal. And हमारे जितने भी life experiences होते हैं, let's say you have lived hundreds of lifetimes, उस सब का essence, उस सब में जो भी चीजें आपने सीखी है, वो उसका essence ऊपर soul के पास में जमा होता है. So if we can find a way on our day-to-day basis to connect with that source of knowledge, source of wisdom within us, then you will have all the answers. That also, and secondly, हमारे life का जो design है, what we call as destiny, is also with your soul. So if you want to know that आपके future में क्या होने वाला है, if something bad is going to come, how to tackle it, because problem है but उसके answers भी है, दोनों चीजें आपके soul के पास में जमा है. But the problem is we have not had this realization before. ये realization हमारे life में नहीं था पहले, that there is something greater than us within us who is like a parent and who can guide us, who is like a teacher, inner teacher. So how can we tap and contact this inner teacher in our day-to-day life? That is one of the goals of this series. And how can we gain spiritual wisdom by establishing proper contact and communication within us. Yes, your soul is there, but also there are, as I mentioned to you, in the inner world, there are many, many beings who are highly evolved, who are called the great hierarchy of spiritual teachers. Then there are angelic beings. In the coming days in the series, we will talk about the different kinds of angels. हर एक angel जो है, they have mastery over a subject. Now think of angels as our elder brothers and sisters, जिन्होंने अपने लाइफ स्पैन में maybe millions and millions of years through history, they have mastered certain lessons in life. Maybe, let's say, for example, they have become master in science. They have become master in life management. They have become master in medicine. They have become master in anything. So there are angels belonging to different, excuse me, different departments of life. So what if you know how to contact a particular being or angel, and then you can request them to help you understand a certain subject? Then you don't need to you know do attend a certain course. As long as your connection is strong and you can get that wisdom, you will become a genius. Like, Ramanujan, have you heard of that person? He was able to tap into the inner world. He was able to get wisdom on black holes, on mathematical formulas, without opening books. He would see formulas, mathematical formulas in front of his eyes. Same with the Nikola Tesla. If you have heard of the story of Nikola Tesla, he was able to establish, or maybe he was born with that strong communication in the inner spiritual worlds. And you know what happened to him? He said when he was young and when he would have a little fever, yeah, he would dream. He would dream of machines. He would see models of certain machinery or inventions which he could consciously control. Isn't that amazing that you are able to see a machinery? And according to him, just like आज science 3D technology में attempt करने की कोशिश कर रहा है, Nikola Tesla was able to dismantle a machine in his dream, and it was able to read and see each and every part of it, and then he would assemble them again so that he understands how to create that machine in real. And then he was able to draw that machine when he would get up. So he became a genius scientist. He is the father of electricity. Because of him, we have electricity in home. So isn't that amazing that that one person contributed so much into the world because he had better established communication with his inner divinity? Now, that is also one of the purposes of this series. It is so that each one of us becomes so valuable to the world that we contribute something for the alleviation of sufferings of mankind. Imagine some of you, maybe जो इस session में आ रहे हैं, maybe you are way ahead in advance spiritually than me, even though I have some knowledge, but you are just like one tap away or one hit away from spiritual awakening. And maybe you attended one of these sessions, and then you tried to contact that your inner divinity and your soul, and you are able to achieve success in just a few attempts. Imagine what kind of wisdom will come to the world through you. Imagine what kind of music, what kind of art, what kind of inventions or science can come to the world which can alleviate the sufferings of humanity. So we do not just rely on like a few spiritual teachers जो हमें guide कर रहे हैं. Each one of us will become a great guide or spiritual mentor who can help thousands and thousands of other people in the world. So that is one of the goals we wish to achieve through sessions like this. Obviously, if you are already a pranic healing student, या अगर आप किसी spiritual tradition से जुड़े हैं, you know their meditations, you keep following it, and you have already tasted what it means to develop intuition, yeah, having a guidance, it's wonderful. Then in that case, it's your duty to introduce to programs like this, some of your friends and colleagues, your family members, who are still beginners. So इस session का objective बहुत हाई फाई या वेरी हाईली स्पिरिचुअली एडवांस लोगों के को इंट्रोड्यूस करना नहीं है या उनके लिए टीचिंग्स प्रेजेंट करना नहीं है, बल्कि एवरी कॉमन मैन, एवरी ले मैन हु इज विलिंग, बिकॉज उसके लाइफ में बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस एंड प्रॉब्लम्स है, ही इज विलिंग एंड इज लुकिंग फॉर आंसर्स. So we will try to present as many answers which come directly from the great, great spiritual masters, who are guiding humanity. These are not my insights or my answers. I'm just a spokesperson. I'm just a mouthpiece for them. I will just bring or try to bring, their teachings to whoever wish to attend this program. Is this clear? So यहाँ तक सबको क्लैरिटी है? Are you do you think this journey will be exciting? I have personally conducted many sessions on esoteric teachings, esoteric subjects over the years, but I've never attempted something like this, where we bring these teachings to public. And I'm lucky and grateful that most of the people who attend my session, I have this feedback that I'm able to bring the difficult concept in an easy format, easy to understand format. I think that is my gift. But the rest of the credit goes to all the teachers. उनकी जो teachings है, I mean, if the teachings are fantastic, if the teachings are life transforming, the credit goes to them. My credit is just if I'm able to bring and present it with simplified examples, yeah, simplified language. So that's why I want to attempt this, to bring this series to the public. Those who are connected with me, what do you think? जो लोग already जुड़े हुए हैं and then you have attended some of my session, do you think it will be helpful to the masses, to your friends, your family, colleagues? Yeah. Remember, before we conclude today's session, I just want to remind you of the objective. The objective of this series is to help each one of us become aware of the tools and techniques of the science of how a person can grow spiritually, how a person can know himself or herself better, and अपने inner divinity या अपने inner spiritual resource को tap कर सके. Now, according to one of the spiritual teachers, like his name is Master DK, Holy Master DK, he says that all problems in life or all illnesses in life, be it physical or psychological, is due to lack of flow of energy, lack of flow of spiritual energy, or lack of flow of your own inner divinity, yeah, inner spiritual contact. Think of your soul as like the transformer, yeah, generator of electricity, and there is a connection of you with your soul, जो because of our identification of life, हम life में सोचते हैं कि मैं ये शरीर हूँ या emotions हूँ या mind हूँ, and for some reason we entangle with this lower life, we tend to forget our true nature, and because of that ये जो inner connection है ये बहुत weak हो जाता है. And when this inner connection is weak, even though your soul is very resourceful, your soul is very wise, your soul is very powerful, the soul is not able to help you much. It is just like the father is very rich, your father is very powerful, resourceful, but you have left your father's house and you are wandering somewhere in another country or city, and you don't even have a phone. Are you getting the point? So in spite of your challenges, in spite of your suffering, your father is helpless. The father cannot help you, because for your father to help you, you need to help yourself by finding a cell phone or trying to find your father's number and call him. When you call and establish communication, then the father will be able to respond. So your soul is like your inner father or inner uh, teacher who is willing always to provide you with the right help. And this is for everyone. We all are spiritually capable, powerful, resourceful, wise. It's just that our communication is very weak, poor. It's very poor. And I think that is the same thing which all the great avatars, great spiritual teachers are trying to do. Are you getting the point? So through this session, I will present topics from the teachings of different spiritual traditions and schools, mostly which are recommended by Master Choa Kok Sui, because I have read through them and I have strongly believed that that material is more authentic. I'm not saying that there are other teachings which are not authentic, but because these are the recommendations of a great spiritual teacher. So I will first try to bring extracts from different books, and then also will correlate to something which are available to public, like the religious text, right? So one of the goal of the series is also to bring a light on the rituals and practices of different spiritual traditions, और उसके अंदर के inner significance क्या है. दो मास्टर चोआ कोक्सुई ने अपने क्लासेस में और कोर्सेस में कुछ कुछ प्रैक्टिसेस को प्रेजेंट किया है in the form of inner teachings, like inner teachings of Hinduism, Christianity, Buddhism and so on. But still not everything is covered. बहुत सारी चीजें जो है रिचुअल्स है, प्रैक्टिसेस है, वो उस पे हम लोग मेडिटेट कर सकते हैं एंड वी कैन ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड देम. बट उसके पहले वी नीड टू क्रिएट अ फाउंडेशन ऑफ स्पिरिचुअल नॉलेज जो हम सेशन बाय सेशन क्रिएट करते जाएंगे. उसके बाद में हम उस फील्ड पे जाएंगे. सो सबसे पहले विल स्टार्ट विथ लाइक ABCD of spirituality and then we'll go further. Do you think it makes sense? Yeah. So before we conclude today's session, आज के सेशन को conclude करने से पहले I will just take one or two questions. So anybody have a question? Because the session is meant only for 30 minutes. आज it was more creating a, you know, उसकी क्या बोलना चाहिए, भूमिका हमने बनाई. We try to present to you कि आने वाले दिनों में आप क्या expect कर सकते हैं. And then yes, maybe a few questions. No questions? So Himani asked, spiritual growth means. So I told you, one of the simplest way of growing spiritually, it means that from being a spiritually malnourished person, you become spiritually nourished. So you know, like जब आप छोटे होते हैं, when you're like a baby, what do you really need in order to grow? Do you need nourishment of some kind? Yes or no? Do you need food? But do you also need emotional warmth? So similarly, if you want to grow spiritually, you need spiritual food or spiritual nourishment. And that spiritual nourishment is both the understanding part, awakening your mind. Now, you know, your consciousness has a lot to do with mind. Mind का consciousness से बहुत गहरा संबंध है, या understanding का. You know, human journey में या phase में ऐसे भी races, human races exist की है जिनके पास में mind principle ही नहीं था. It means they did not have a mind, they were mindless. And because they were mindless, उनका जो progression था spiritual journey में, it was super slow. So the first thing in the spiritual journey which was introduced by God in our life was the mental principle, or principle of your manas or mind. And because, well, and when the mind was introduced, consciousness was sparked within us. Yeah, the ability to reason, the ability to differentiate between good and evil, good or bad. ये जो चीज है, ये इसका connection हमारे consciousness से है. So we'll discuss more about the consciousness in the coming days, but then without spiritual food, without spiritual nourishment, या spiritual subjects पे बात किए बिना consciousness का further evolution नहीं हो सकता. Because in order to grow, you know, you need an input, you need a raw material. So these things are like the raw material. जब ये आपके mind को मिलेगी, your mind will start to churn this information. It will try to digest the information. It will make your mind expand. I repeat, unless there is spiritual nourishment, unless there are discussions like this, your mind is not fed, right? So spiritually you are hungry, you're starving. But ऐसे sessions के जरिए gradually you are being fed with information and energy which comes through this spiritual teachings. It makes you expand internally, not physically, but internally. And ये जो expansion है वो आपको help करेगा बहुत सारी चीजें आसानी से excuse me, बहुत सारी चीजें आसानी से समझने के लिए जो पहले नहीं समझ में आती थी. It's like before you can understand complex mathematics, you need to have basic foundational teachings, right? So that's what we are attempting to do. Before we can go to deep inner spiritual teachings, we will try to bring concepts. इस सीरीज में मंडे टू थर्सडे हर दिन 30 मिनट्स जो आपको हेल्प करेंगे एक फाउंडेशन बनाने के में स्पिरिचुअलिटी का. एंड देन थ्रू दो दैट फाउंडेशन आपको हायर या डीपर स्पिरिचुअल टीचिंग्स जो है आसानी से समझ में आएगी. एंड देन ये सारी चीजें क्या कर रही है, दे विल लीड यू या दे विल गाइड यू टू लीड अ बेटर लाइफ. अल्टीमेटली इन सब का ऑब्जेक्टिव ये है कि आपकी लाइफ फिजिकली, इमोशनली, मेंटली, स्पिरिचुअली it becomes much more in your control. It becomes more balanced because आज life में challenges जो हैं या like I was counseling somebody and the person was उनके life में जो भी traumas हुए होंगे या challenges हुए होंगे, so I told the person that why do you get shocked when life में problems होते हैं, why do you get traumatized? One of the reason is that we are not prepared, yeah, we are not trained. If you are trained and prepared before a challenge comes to you, then uska jo impact hoga, it will not be that of a shock. At least you will be ready that okay, this is going to come, this is what I have to face. So kai log hote hain, they don't even know what is going to come into their life based on their karma, because they don't even know the concept of karma. So agar unko concept of karma hi nahi pata hai, and then let's say pandemic, COVID pandemic जैसी problem आती है, and then they lost everything, they lost their money, they lost their loved ones, and they are in tremendous shock and pain, and that pain stays for 1-2 years. Whose fault is it? It's not just the fault of the karma, but our lack of effort in terms of understanding life. Like because there's no school on understanding life, yeah, very less schools currently. धीरे धीरे spiritual schools आ रहे हैं दुनिया में, but then there is still time. So maybe people like you and me, we have to take action by preparing enough vibrations or energy so that more and more spiritual teachers can incarnate and come down and transfer further spiritual wisdom to us. Till then, maybe we can help each other by bringing knowledge, bringing wisdom जो already exist करती है इस world में, but a lot of which is not publicly available. So that is the goal. So ultimately, spiritual nourishment, yeah, spiritual growth means that we nourish ourselves with information and energy through meditation, through book studies, yeah, study sessions like this, and we become more and more like aware. So awareness or consciousness जितनी बढ़ेगी हमारे अंदर में, we will be able to deal with life crisis much more efficiently. That is the goal. So I hope this session had created a structure or a basis for our further sessions आने वाले दिनों में. There's a question here. So yes, questions like this: spiritual nourishment related to economic, social, and emotional development. Yes, spiritual development means holistic development. Real spiritual development is not about meditation and mantra chanting. Real spiritual development means you develop a more holistic consciousness. It means you open yourself up to a lot of information, और उससे आप खुद को ज़्यादा skillful बना पा रहे हैं. One of the things which I learned was that don't ask that life should be easy. हर दिन life में ये pray मत करिए that life should be easy. You should rather pray, may I become more skillful. So that attitude I really like wow, why not we ask like this? Like instead of reducing your challenges, I become like a problem solver. And how do you become a problem solver? by making yourself more and more skillful. आने वाले समय में जो पॉपुलेशन रहेगी या लोग रहेंगे, दे विल बी मोर होलिस्टिक इन दिस वे. पहले के ज़माने में ऐसा था कि धोबी है तो धोबी का ही काम करेगा, अकाउंटेंट है तो अकाउंटेंट का काम करेगा, ग्रेन मर्चेंट है तो ग्रेन मर्चेंट का काम करेगा. बट आज का जो समय है, ये डिमांड करता है दैट वी शुड नो समथिंग अबाउट डिफरेंट फील्ड्स. हर फील्ड का नॉलेज थोड़ा थोड़ा हमारे पास होना चाहिए. वी शुड मेक आवरसेल्फ मोर राउंडेड, वेल राउंडेड. और ये वेल राउंडेड तभी होंगे जब हम इस तरह के सेशंस को रेगुलर बेसिस पे अटेंड करेंगे. इज दिस क्लियर? So maybe we'll come back tomorrow 4 p.m. आज 1 घंटा ऑलरेडी हो चुका है. I promised half an hour, but because it was the introductory session, it was the first session, I thought to extend a bit. I hope you have got some amount of clarity कि इस सीरीज से क्या बहुत कुछ होने वाला है, काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें प्लान है. So let's keep finger crossed. Please do try to attend live, or else maybe you can watch the recordings later. The recordings will be available on YouTube and YouTube channel and on Facebook page. So please, you can follow, if you can follow the page on YouTube and subscribe on YouTube and follow the Facebook page where you can be notified of all further coming sessions. So till then, आत्मा नमस्ते. आज शाम में स्पेशली जो लोग मेरे ग्रुप से जुड़े हैं, वी विल बी हैविंग डीमिस्टिफाइंग डेथ सीरीज के first 2 lectures. It will be telecasted or retelecasted in the night, 9 to 10:30. So we'll see you there in the night. Atma, namaste. Have a wonderful day, all of you.